Before Kevin De Bruyne became one of the best midfielders football has ever seen, there was a moment where everyone around him decided he wasn't worth the trouble. Not because he wasn't good enough, but because they didn't like who he was. And that moment explains everything. Kevin grew up in Belgium, quiet by nature, happiest when he had a football at his feet. He spent so much time playing in his parents' garden that he kept smashing flower pots. Eventually, his parents forced him to play only with his weaker foot. At the time, it felt like punishment. Years later, it became one of the reasons he was so complete as a player. By the age of 8, Kevin already felt stuck. He'd been playing for his local club, KVV Drongen, for 2 years and wanted more. So he told his coaches something most kids wouldn't dare to say. The training sessions are better at Ghent. And just like that, he left. At Ghent, things didn't get easier. Kevin wasn't loud. He wasn't outgoing. He was intense, honest, and stubborn. Coaches tried to change him. Teammates didn't understand him. Some even found him uncomfortable to be around. Once, after being criticized again, Kevin grabbed onto a goalpost and refused to let go. He stayed there so long that it got dark before anyone could convince him to move. Years later, that same coach would admit Kevin was difficult, but also that those exact traits were what made him special. Word of Kevin's talent spread, and eventually Genk came calling. They convinced him to move across the country while he was still a teenager. At first, he lived in a boarding house. It was lonely but manageable. Then Genk changed the arrangement. Young players would live with foster families instead. Kevin moved in with one, along with 2 teammates. For the first time in a long while, he felt settled. He did well in school. He trained hard. He caused no problems. When summer arrived, the foster family waved him goodbye and told him they'd see him next season. Kevin believed them, but when he got home, his mother was crying. The foster family had called. They didn't want him back. They said Kevin was too quiet, that he was hard to interact with, that it wasn't working. It's about who you are, they said. Kevin didn't understand. No one had ever complained to him. He thought he was doing everything right. That night, he took a football into the garden and kicked it against a fence for hours, again and again. One sentence looping in his head. It's about who you are. What hurt even more was what came next. The club was informed, and Genk decided Kevin was a problem. They refused to pay for another foster family. Instead, they sent him to a boarding house for troubled kids. Kevin was 16 years old, alone. That was when Kevin made himself a promise. In 2 months, I'll be in the first team. No matter what, I'm not going home a failure. At that point, he was barely known. A B-team player, a nobody. But when the season started, everything changed. One Friday night, Kevin came off the bench and lost control in the best possible way. He scored and scored again and again. 5 goals in 1 half. Later, he explained exactly what was going through his head. 1 goal, they don't want you anymore. 2 goals, too quiet. 3 goals, too difficult. 4 goals, they don't want you anymore. 5 goals because of who you are. The performance was impossible to ignore. Kevin was promoted to the first team immediately, and suddenly everyone wanted him back. The foster family returned. They said it had all been a misunderstanding, that of course they wanted him. Kevin didn't hesitate. You threw me in the trash, he said. And now that I'm doing well, you want me back? He walked away. Years later, Kevin admitted that moment probably fueled everything that came after. At Genk, Kevin's rise was relentless. By his 3rd season, he dominated the Belgian league. 5 goals, 16 assists, a title decided by half a point. He earned his debut for Belgium and instantly stood out. Vincent Kompany would later say that after their first training session together, players were already whispering, he's 19 and he's already the best player here. Chelsea signed him as a future star. But first he went on loan to Werder Bremen. In Germany, his football spoke for him. 10 goals, 9 assists. Bundesliga Young Player of the Year. But off the pitch, everything collapsed. His girlfriend cheated on him with his childhood friend and international teammate, Thibaut Courtois. The story became public, messy, personal. At the same time, Jose Mourinho lost patience. Kevin barely played. After just 6 months, Chelsea sold him. 1 assist, no goals. Once again, Kevin was written off. Back in Germany with Wolfsburg, he did what he always did. He turned pain into performance. 16 goals, 27 assists, a league record at the time. Player of the Year. Manchester City paid a record fee to bring Kevin back to England. The doubts followed him. A Chelsea reject, a flop. Then Pep Guardiola arrived. Pep sat Kevin down and told him something simple. You can be a top 5 player in the world, easily. For the first time, Kevin didn't feel challenged. He felt understood. Under Guardiola, Kevin flourished. Assists, titles, records. At the 2018 World Cup, he scored against Brazil as Belgium reached their greatest ever finish. Injuries would test him again. Life would test him again. But Kevin was no longer playing out of anger or fear. He was playing because he loved the game. Today, Kevin De Bruyne is mentioned among the greatest midfielders of his generation. Not because he changed who he was, but because the kid who was told he was too quiet, too difficult, and unwanted proved that who he was more than enough.